Sgan Aluf, Menachem. It seems to be not monotonous, but almost monotonous, day after day, day after day. We're not used to lengthy wars. But here we know that the righteousness is with us, the justice is with us. This is a war of our survival, a war of our identity. And that means we at the home front, through our limud Torah, through our tefillah, can only strengthen the Jewish people. So we hope that through our learning of Torah, the many, more than 1,500 to 2,000 already, wounded soldiers will be healed. The Chatufim will be released, God willing, in health. And Hashem save all our soldiers. Because this is coming towards not the end of the war, but to Rafiach, where there's a million and a half Azatim with a few thousand, at least a few thousand terrorists living there. Tov, the plan of Eliyahu is about to come to its end. 3 years of famine, no rain. Achav is almost coming on his knees to meet up with Eliyahu, although he calls him Ocher Yisrael. You're the ugly, you're the one that destroyed Israel. Doesn't bother. Only parts of the false prophets arrive. The ones subjected by Izebel do not arrive. And here they're praying for rain. They don't bring any success whatsoever. Eliyahu, here at the end of the chapter 18, after doing something which some of the commentaries see as if he's pointing a finger at God, maybe Eliyahu's changing strategy. It's because you caused these matters, God. Eliyahu is saying to Hashem, maybe he's coming to defend Klal Yisrael now, because until now, Eliyahu Navi, in his personality, he's litigating Klal Yisrael. He is prosecuting the nation. He is scrutinizing them. And now, after he accuses as if Hashem, as we saw in verse 37, Atasi Botait Libam, here he's coming with criticism. What happens? Fire comes down. Vatipol Eish Hashem in verse 38. Vatochal et ha'olah v'ta'itzim v'ta'avanim v'ta'afar. Things that usually fire do not burn, do not consume. And here, miraculously, we're learning and seeing how things that are happening, as if the metaphysical entity is with Eliyahu, without a doubt. Eish Hashem, it's, the fire is din, and Eliyahu is din. So it's so suitable that he's bringing down din in the world. The waters that are coming in contact, they too are consumed by, they're licked up, as if the Mitzudat Zion says, lilakek. Lichecha is like lilakek. And then the immediate admission, the upliftment of the people there that are watching, who knows, tons of people, thousands, tens of thousands are there. Lamited, verse 39. Vayar kolam, vayiplu apneim. They're submitting themselves. They're so much in awe, or the fear of Hashem. The miracle is so great. Fire coming down. We went to a science class the other day, and they told us that the fire goes up. And here, fire's coming down. Something metaphysical. Vayiplu apneim, they fall on their faces. Vayamru, they say in unison, Hashem Elokim, Hashem Elokim. They're getting strengthening in their emunah. Could be the same type of people that were into Avodah Zarah, that were doing the Baal, under the influence of Izebel and the idolatry here. No, there's only one God, Hashem Elokim. Eliyahu goes on to perform din in verse 40. Vayomer Eliyahu lam tifsu et nevi Abal ish al yamalet mehem vayit pesum vayuridem Eliyahu nachal kishon vayishchatem sham. At the bottom of this part of the Carmel mountains, there's one of the most important nechalim, channels that brings water, rainwater in the winter. Of all the Nachalei Emek Israel that we know, it passes from the Jezreel Valley to the mountain ridge of Har Carmel, and then it falls and drops into the Mediterranean Sea, somewhere between Haifa and Akko as we go north. And you ask yourself, why do I need the Torah to tell us that when he goes out and martial court, he goes and he slaughters, okay? So many are killed, why there? So some say, he wants it to happen by the Nachal where there's water, and the water will pour out, will rush out the dam, which is Tum'ah for Eretz Yisrael. He doesn't want, there are those that explain that way, he doesn't want Tum'ah to remain in Eretz Yisrael. And if we ask ourselves, halachically, is it okay to be killing these type of people? Well, we were numbering the types of sins. We're talking about Ovdei Avodah Zarah, idolaters. We're talking about Misitim, influencing others to do Avodah Zarah. We're talking about Din Rodef, after the Nevi'im of Hashem. Okay? In other words, we're talking about the classic case of the most severe sins, public sins against the nation. Harav Shavel, one of the great Achronim that made Aliyah from America and worked for the Mossad Rav Kook and helped put out the Torat Chaim series of the Chumash, of the Ramban and other works. He writes an interesting comparison between what Moshe commanded Bnei Levi to do at Mount Sinai, killing those that are sitting at the Egel, and what Shmuel did to Agag, Melech Amalek, and also here the work of Eliyahu Navi. We don't see that God was involved, but maybe it was a Horat Sha'ah, an instruction for that hour. Moshe killed who had to be killed. God didn't tell him, he went ahead and do it. Shmuel Navi cut off the head of Agag, Melech Amalek, and so too here, he's taking care of all these people. And this is probably making a gigantic impact. These are people that were leaders, that had no fear. Nothing will happen to them. And now we can say the Sur Meirah is done. The question is, economically, how will the nation continue? No rain for 3 years. Now Eliyahu gets to work. Pasuk Mem Aleph, verse 41. Let's see what happens here. Vayomer Eliyahu lachav alei echol ushtei ki kol hamon hagashem. What's happening here? It's interesting. The prophet's commanding the king what to do. Huh? Why is he telling him to eat and drink? Okay? Rain is about to come. In other words, Eliyahu's bitachon in God is so strong, the commentators explain, that there's no doubt that after he starts asking for rain, it's going to happen. But why tell Achav to eat? Was he hungry? Give him a sandwich. What do you think he was doing?
Celebrating.
But before he was celebrating, maybe, some say it's part of the tshuva process of Achav, he was fasting. This is a major event. In other words, some of the Mefarshim, like the Radak and the Malbim, say that Achav was fasting in this great Ma'amad Har Carmel. And now, the voices, the sounds of Geshem will be coming. Soon you'll hear the drips of rain. Why? Because Israel said, Hashem Elokim. This is a Ma'amad of Ol Malchut Shamayim. They're accepting God, and they're accepting God's kingdom. And number two, all these false prophets, 400 of them that are there, were killed by Eliyahu. Okay? Why go up to the top of the Carmel? The site much better there? There are different levels of the Carmel mountain. He says, Alei, climb up to the top. What does the top have to do with anything, gentlemen? Well, right? He wants to pray in a high place to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, He wants Achav to be there with him, that he's going to see his prayer and see the rain. There are some that explain, I heard this from Rav Mordechai from the Golan, just forgot his last name, I'm sorry. He says, when you stand on I think I said this last week, when you stand on top of the Carmel mountain and you look north towards Lebanon, towards Sidon, where all this idolatry has been brought in, and you look south, east to Yerushalayim, maybe you can see Yerushalayim from the Carmel mountains. So maybe the Carmel is split in between the two elements, idolatry and monotheism. And standing on the top of that mountain, he wants to help Achav do more tshuva, and maybe on a higher place, he can do more tshuva and eating and drinking, because it's going to be a happy time, as we said before. Okay? Pasuk Membet. Vayale Achav. Look at this. What Eliyahu tells him to do, he does. So there's clear participation, cooperation, tshuva. He allowed this process to happen. There's no doubt that he's doing tshuva. V'Eliyahu ala Rosh Carmel. He too. Vayigar arza. Vayasim panav bein berkav. He is bending his body over so much that he's putting his face in between his knees. Okay? Why? When you're putting yourself in between your knees, you're in the area of the Brit Milah. So some ask, what's the point here? Well, the famous Midrash Shir HaShirim, maybe I brought it here once. No. There's a famous Midrash Shir HaShirim Rabbah, that says the following. In the prayer now that he's about to pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Eliyahu says, look, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this nation is pretty weak as far as the scoreboard is concerned. Ein lanu zchuyot. What happens when, we all know, as we learned from the writings of Rav Kook, there are two sides to Israel. There's Tzad HaSguli and there's the Tzad HaBechiri. Hatzad HaBechiri, through our freedom of choice, we're flunking out. Idolatry all over the place. Detached from Torah. So the Tzad HaBechiri is very low. What exists strong maybe in the generation? Hatzad HaSguli, Skulat Am Yisrael, which is untouchable, which is unstainable, which cannot be decreased. So he says, look, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Habeit Lanu, Habeit Labrit. Look at our Brit. What does Brit Milah express? Our most inner connection to God. Okay, the most natural interconnection to God. When you take an 8-day baby and you don't even ask him, would you like to have a miniature operation right now? And he says, just give me the pacifier with some wine, and it'll be like a what is it called? Okay, no, but the pacifier with wine, it acts with alcohol. It acts as an anesthesia. Okay, a baby at the 8-day part of his life, he has no mind. It's all part of Skulat Yisrael to do a Brit Milah on an 8-day baby. It's not because the baby wants to do it. Because we have no choice. We are connected to God. This is what Eliyahu Navi is saying to Hashem in his tefillah, according to the Shir HaShirim Rabbah. Habeit el HaSkula. Look at the skula, our inner connection to God. Look at our Brit Milah. We have no zchuyot. That's why maybe he's lowering his body, he's putting his head in between his birkayim. Pasuk Mem Gimel. Vayomer el Na'aro. It's not clear who is his Na'ar. Some say maybe it was Ovadiah, the one who was in charge of the Ministry of Interior for Achav. But it's hard to prove it. Aleina, he also invites him, come up. Habeit Erechiam, I want you to be the lookout man. Look west. Vayal, Vayabeit. He climbs up the mountain, and he's looking in the west, the Mediterranean. Vayomer Ein Me'uma. Look, I haven't studied meteorology, but it looks like clear skies to me. There's nothing going on there. Vayomer Shuv. Sheva Pamim. Time after time, he's praying. He asked his nar, tell me what's going on. Are there clouds? Are there clouds? Nothing, even 7 times. As the 7th time approaches, Pasuk Mem Dalet Vayiba Shvi'it, Vayomer, Hine Av Ktana, Kichaf Ish Olamiyam. His servant now informs Eliyahu in the middle of his prayers, there's a little cloud. What is it comparable to? The palm of a hand. Okay? Wow. Meaning things are clouding up. Eliyahu Navi has so much impact into meteorological things that when people are doing tshuva and din is made to the people that are wicked, then Hashem is backing him up. Vayomer aleh. I want you to go further up. Emor lachav, tell to achav, esor vareid. Meaning, tie up your what? Your chariot and horses. Vareid, go down the mountain. In other words, there's going to be a big rainstorm. Now, you don't want to be caught in the bottom of the Carmel mountains with a big rainstorm. All the water's coming down, gushing down from all sides. Could have flash floods, shitfonot, clearly. Okay? So right now, Eliyahu Navi is so sure, so certain, that he tells him what to do. Velo yatzorcha gasham. We don't want the rain to stop to you. Eliyahu is obviously known that Eliyahu Navi has his Shomron palace. We're somewhere near the Jezreel Valley, between Jenin and the Jezreel Valley. And therefore, he says, you better get going. Pasuk Memhei, as we come to the finale of Mount Carmel, 45. Okay. Vayihi atko ve'atko. As time is passing, okay, the time that he sends the shliach to tell Achav what to do, until Achav ties his chariot with his horses. And now what's happening in the skies? Skies are getting darker and darker. Vashamayim hitkadru. Okay? Hitkadru meaning the sky is becoming dark. We have rain clouds. Precipitation is about to be in contact. What's that?
Is also for somebody's face, right?
What's that?
So there is also for someone's face if they become, their expression is
Okay.
dark and
Yes, but here we're talking about clouds that are bringing rain. Vayirkav Achav Vayelech Israela. Wow. Achav has completed this process, cooperated, participated with Eliyahu Navi, and he's now beginning his flee because of the rain. Although, of course, rain will bring production, rain will bring produce, economics. But if we say, to a certain extent, Achav has cooperated tremendously here with Eliyahu Navi. The question is, what will be the result? And we'll have to deal with that in a moment. Okay? But here, Eliyahu has brought in, and now judgment is done. God has brought water. And now we come to the finale of the Pasuk that we should really devote some time with. It says the following: V'yad Hashem hayta el Eliyahu v'yishanes motnav v'yarot lifnei Achav ad boacha Yisraela. V'yad Hashem hayta el Eliyahu. Yad Hashem is strength. But it's not just strength. Yonatan ben Uziel, the Targum, was a Tana. He says, V'ruach gvura min kodam Hashem, havat im Eliyahu. The spirit of courage and strength from God is now with Eliyahu. What? Who's riding on the chariot? Achav. Who is going by foot? Probably has his New Balance sneakers or something like that. Or Keds, I don't know, Converse, whatever, Adidas. And it's quite a trip. We're talking about a few tens of kilometers to go inland, going east. Why? Why does he need the strength? And why is he going? So there's a very, very special Rashi here. And this has clear application. Do we or do we not give honor to a secular king who supported Avodah Zarah like Achav? What happened when Prime Minister Rabin was in administration and he supported giving away parts of the land of Israel? Do we give him honor? Do we not give him honor? This end of the chapter may have a message to tell us. So let's first understand the pshat. Eliyahu gets these divine powers to go by foot. It's like he's picking up his trousers to start running before Achav. Achav on the royal chariot. Okay? Rashi says, Nitlabesh koach from God, larutz lifnei merkava biraglav shelo yelech Achav yechidi. He doesn't want him allowed to go by himself. Why not? Because he's the king. Shechilek kavod lamalchut.
Can I tell a story?
In one moment, please. There are those that said during the terrible Oslo Accords, which culminated in the biggest suffering and the murder and butchering of Jews on Simchat Torah, that we had this conception, this understanding that these Arabs will never go to war against us, not more. Yeah, we'll have a little, they'll throw a few thousand rockets at us, it'll be okay, we'll bomb them, and things will be okay. Achav is an idol worshiper. He married Izebel. Izebel brought in other idolatry, other false prophets. She certainly didn't cooperate with Achav. Her prophets that she was supporting didn't show up. The ones that, under the tutelage of Achav, did show up and they were killed. It could be that Achav puts on tefillin in the morning, but bows down to idolatry in the afternoon. It could be that on the inside he has some kosher food, on the outside not. Do you still honor him if he's like, he's idolater? Well, maybe he's in the process of tshuva. Is that the reason that Eliyahu Navi is honoring him? He's wants to give honor to the Malchut. I'm just leaving this open. I'm saying that maybe the honor is because Achav is in the process of tshuva. If Achav was not in the process of tshuva, maybe he wouldn't do this. That's what Rav Zalman Melamed would say. He said to me, I heard it in the shur 25, 30 years ago. Because Achav is in the process of tshuva, he's giving kavod l'malchut. Others said no. Even if he wasn't in the process of tshuva, you must give honor to the Jewish king, even if he makes serious mistakes like idolatry. Why? Because we believe that if Achav is in office now, that is Hashem's will. And even if he's not complete, and he's not perfect, and he's far from perfect, and he's hazardous, and he's injurious, it doesn't make a difference. You have to give him honor. Why? Because he's the king of Israel. And therefore, it means making a mishaberach for the prime minister, even if he's doing the wrong things, hoping that he'll do the right things, and showing honor for him. What do you want to say, sir?
So, this has got to be 35 years ago. More than 35 years ago. I was on Rehov Yol Solomon. I was walking down Yol Solomon, and I saw Rav Kahana. So I went over and started talking to him. I showed him a couple pictures. I walked away. He went the opposite direction. I said, "Oh, that's a question." Okay. President Herzog.
President Herzog?
Yes. The father.
Yes.
was came to Machon Meir and spoke at the old Beit Midrash. And two of us went to Rav Goldenberg, and we said to him, we have a problem.
His policies are not our policies. Should we give him honor or not?
So he said, since he is the president, he's